What is up, YouTube? So today I'm here to talk to you about gear. And as a lot of you know, I'm not really a gear person, but I'm a big believer that you can make anything work. There is some gear that's just better at stuff than others. And I had a drum that just wasn't that good at a lot of stuff that I wanted to do. It just did like one thing and it did it well, but I'm just over it. And I didn't have enough use for it, so I sold it and I bought this snare drum. This is a 1979 Acrolite snare drum, and I got it, and it's a vintage drum, so I wanted to talk a little bit about vintage drums and how that's interesting, and then also let you know, was it worth it? It's a vintage drum. Was it cool? Is it worth the, because vintage drums are so in right now. Is it worth getting vintage drums? This snare drum is great. It sounds great at like any tuning, and it's just so crazy to me. It's a 5x14 Ludwig Acrolite snare, so it's a metal shell of some kind. I don't know anything more than that, okay? Give me a break. A few things to know. When I got it, the strainer was broken. So the strainer is the part where you engage it or disengage it, and it turns the snare wires on or off. The thing that makes the snares go up and down, that was broken. Luckily, I have a Supraphonic that I took off the strainer for, and I put on this drum. Long story short, I have a new strainer on it now. It's great. It's really hard to find these drums where the strainers aren't broken. It's a lot of little parts, a lot of little screws. It's just easy for those to break over time. Luckily, they're super cheap. I personally hate the throw-off that comes on most Ludwig snares. I think it's called the P77 or something. Like, I don't know what it is, but they suck. Everything else was good. The snares were in pretty good shape. I had to put new, like the snares run across the bottom of the head, and then there's also little wires that come off of those to hold to the butt plate, funny name, and the strainer. I had to get new, like, stringy, tabby things for it to hold on there, okay? Pretty easy fix. I have a bunch of those laying around. There's some rust on the rim. That freaked me out a little bit, but none of it's too bad. I took a magic eraser and, just kind of cleaned the shell of the drum and everything, wiped it off. If the rust gets worse, I'll worry about it, but if the rust doesn't get worse, I'm not going to worry about it. Because it's still going to work. It's still going to sound like a drum. And that's another thing. I don't get bent out of shape about, like, it's not the original rims, or it's not the like, if it works, it works. If it sounds good, it sounds good. So to me, if the rust isn't becoming a problem, if it's not growing, if it's not damaging more, who cares? I put new heads on it. There's a Remo Ambassador snare side head on the bottom. They call it Ambassador Hazy on the bottom. The snares are Pure Sound. I'm not sure what they are. Whoever had the drum before me replaced them with Pure Sound, and it looks like the 20 strand. And then on the top, I have a controlled sound, a Remo controlled sound. And I like the Remo controlled sound, but I actually might, and so the only other metal drum I have is a Ludwig Supraphonic, and it's a 6.5x14. And that drum is really ringy and rattly, and I love it, but I always have to tame it a little bit and dampen it. And the controlled sound actually helps on the Supraphonic. But on this Acrolite, I think the next time I buy a head for it, I'm going to go with an Ambassador X, because it'll still be a little bit thicker than an Ambassador, but it won't. I feel like this controlled sound is just a little bit too much. It might not be for everyone, but it is for me. It's a snare drum. It sounds like a snare drum. It can go on records. It records well, which you're, I think, about to find out. Okay, so update. When I recorded the playing portion of this video, I had never heard what the snare drum sounded like under a microphone. I had just gotten it, and I tuned it, and I played it in the room, but I never heard how it sounded under a microphone, and like, whoa, I am freaking blown away. It sounds amazing, especially when I get into these 4 different tunings I do. It just like sounds great at every tuning. Most snare drums operate the best in a certain tuning range, and then you can make it work in others, but you got to do a lot of EQ, you got to do a lot of stuff. This was just like super easy.
This drum actually blew me away. Like, it's worth the hype. It records really well and can do a lot of things.
If it's under 200 bucks and you have the option to buy one of these, I would factor in that you're probably going to spend like $20, $30, $40 more fixing it up, whether you're buying a new strainer, buying new snares or whatever. So if you see this drum and it's for $150, I would factor in maybe 200 bucks when you're all said and done so that you can get the cleaning supplies and the whatever you might need to fix up the drum to make it like show or recording ready. But here is the drum. So there you have it. That is the Acrolite at a bunch of different tunings. To me, it was super easy to get. I got this drum yesterday. I haven't messed with it that much. And sometimes on a new drum, it takes me a long time to dial in exactly how it likes to be tuned to get certain sounds. This drum, it definitely is easier to do that than most drums that I work with. So whatever that's worth, take it with you. If you have the chance to pick one of these up, do it. They're pretty affordable and they sound great. It's a good snare to have in your arsenal if you need to take something and have one snare be a lot of things. But that's it for now. If you liked this video, give maybe a smash that subscribe button or whatever people say on YouTube. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.